Hi, welcome to GrandLine Grinders, episode 20. Now, this week, of course, it's your host, Kevy G, and we're also always featured with our other host, Da Halfbreed, and Keck Fliff, Keck is also
Keck
back.
Filet.
Keck Filet is also back.
Yes.
Man. And we're going to be discussing what we think could be the decks that we want to play during regionals up until OP13, and then we'll, that'll be a different video going forward. Discussing where PRB02 affects this for regional prepping mainly. And yeah, that's what we're talking about today. How are you doing today, Dahapreed?
I'm doing pretty good. It's definitely, I've been really testing for PRB just because I have two big regionals and I might try and play in a third if I'm free in the PRB format. And I've been doing a lot of prep for it. I've been really trying to make the new cards work. But I think the realization is that most of the new cards haven't really affected the format that much. It's like most of the new cards, basically at best, they turn C tier decks into B tier decks.
Yeah.
That's kind of been my experiments with PRB2.
Yeah.
But I'm still excited for the tournaments. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a green enjoyer and green is very good right now. But I'm going to enjoy the last month of PRB and OP12. And then I think starting next podcast, we'll probably start really prepping for
OP13.
OP13 and
New
stuff
game.
like that. Yeah, new game, new era. We'll have to see what that's like and if Bandai is going to feel the need to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But we'll have to get our hands on it for ourselves. It feels like OP13 has had the least amount of tournament content from Japan out of like any previous set.
You're right.
Like.
Yeah.
I think I've seen one 3v3 and one like top 8 1v1 tournament that was streamed in Japan, and like that was it.
I wonder what's the cause of that, because there's a couple other card games gearing up, especially their own card game, Gundam, right? And Bandai has a really hard time like promoting, letting you play 2 card games at once, right? I wonder if they have the same issue over there, right? So, and plus, at the end of the month, not Lorcana, the Riftbound comes out, right?
Yes.
So everyone's kind of like literally they want to like grind this game only. It feels like, so but at least it's not a Bandai game, so you have like 2 orgs you can like support now with different schedules.
Keck, how have you been?
I've been good. Thanks for asking. I do want to talk about PRB for 1 second. I know we're going to go to the speculative tier list that we're kind of looking at, but we won't jump into that just yet. I do want to say most of the gameplay you're going to be seeing difference is that going to be at your locals, right? People just want to try the new cards. You're going to see people that usually play like the most meta deck, but they are going to play BY Luffy. Mostly BY Luffy. Like straight up, like you're going to see a lot of BY Luffy, right? Like everything else, like you're going to see, puddings I've been seeing it a little bit more. Gecko Moria, green purple Luffy for like the semi sweats, right? And everyone else is just like kind of like putting their hands up in the air and maybe like they'll play Smoker. But other than that, you're gonna see a lot more BY Luffy than anything else, I'd say.
Okay, so let's go ahead and dive straight into the tier list, speculative tier list from Card Kiyatsu.
Card D Kaizoku. Yeah.
Kaizoku.
Yeah. He did a speculative tier list and he just wanted to say it only lasts a month. It's pretty much there's probably rights and wrongs with this, but he just puts a speculative, like it's probably these tiers.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed.
Yeah. I mean, Kargi Kaizoku isn't like a devout competitive player, but I think the one thing I do kind of agree with about his tier list is the S tier. It does kind of feel like these 4 decks are the decks you're going to see the most often, like by far in tournaments. And I kind of like the order too. I mean, Zoro might be a little bit worse, but also out of these decks, it's like you'll see each of them will play like a new card or 2, right? I think the Zoro they've all started playing the 4-drop Zoro from PRB instead of the 5-drop Mihawk, just because they'd rather have an additional blocker over an additional rest effect. And like Bonnie has, of course, started playing the new 3-drop blocker Bonnie. And some versions of UP Luffy play 1 or 2 copies of the 5-drop Doflamingo. But a lot of them don't. And Rayleigh has no new cards whatsoever.
It affects a lot of the A tier, really. Like,
yeah,
like I could see the first 4 being Shanks, Smoker, Nami. Actually, the Marco's really good at Nami, like really good at Nami, right?
Agreed.
Sets it up actually a little bit better, and then Green Purple. Green Purple's been good, and apparently it has a good matchup into Zoro. So like, that's like people's like thing with Green Purple right now. It's good into Zoro.
Yeah. So. You can get a good matchup into Zoro, I think, especially with more and more copies of both Thunder Bagua and the 2-drop Tony Chopper starting to see play as just like extra ways to protect your Sanji Pudding. Just like if you can do Sanji Pudding into their Chopper blocker, just to make sure your Spud, as I have a friend who's a GP player, that's always what he calls his. There's like my Spud. But if you can just protect your Spud for 1 turn so that you can establish 2 on the battlefield, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it ends up being a race quite often. In that matchup.
And the 2-drop Nami does really, really help consistency. And it helps your late game a lot as well. Because it used to be you had to play 4 copies of the When You're at Sea, You Fight Pirates. And that's like a counterless searcher. So removing 4 counterless cards from the deck does really help it not die as often. But it can still be pretty fragile. And the Rayleigh matchup is so bad. GP against Rayleigh is so bad. Not only do they have Mulgun, but if you ever go to 0, they can just unblockable to kill you. I did see GP win against Rayleigh in the finals of the Chinwas Cup that happened. They had a Winamanga earlier today, and that was with Premium Booster Legal. And the finals of that was, it was GP versus Teach was the finals. But before Top Cut, it was GP versus Rayleigh, and the GP did win with just, Spuds into Jack Atling Luffy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've been working with Impact in the dojo, right? They on Tuesday they did like a whole thing on GP Luffy. Like they played a bunch of games, like did some testing, like basically backseat gamed each other for like the whole 3 hours. And their conclusion with Green Purple Luffy in PRB2. Okay, this is their conclusion. For some reason, the vibes aren't there. Okay, like it's a good deck. It's actually not as consistent playing 16 searches as you think, as you want it to be, right? And so that was like his whole thing. Like it's harder than you think. It's actually gonna be tough. It's actually, I think it's a very tough leader. Even it's not as consistent as you'd like it to be, even with 16 searchers. So because the vibes are off, they're probably not going to be like meaning and playing it, and you'll see it do well. But I don't, like over 10 rounds when a deck that has 16 searchers is still called a deck that isn't as consistent. That's pretty rough, right? That's my opinion about Green Purple Luffy.
Because no matter what, your entire deck is based around 4 copies of 1 card, right? So it's like
you really play 4 cards. Actually,
So I mean, did either one of you guys watch the ENG official One Piece? It was video. It was Grape Luffy against Shanks. It took him so long, searching 4 times, I think. They still did not find the Sanji and Pudding. So the Shanks player ended up winning because it took him that long. So they finally found the first one, and it was just too late for Grape Luffy to even combat it.
Well, that's they only play 8, maybe 10 good cards in the deck. But then you just play Shanks. You don't have to play a searcher. You only see 20 cards out of your whole deck, maybe. Like actually, your 5 cards in your hand, 5 life, and like the 7 turns it takes you to win. So
So I mean that was pretty much the outcome. It makes sense. I mean, because you can't Great Luffy requires Sanji inputting to really set up his turns and effectively go off, and it just took too long. So yeah,
I will say, for a leader that's in an extra booster, if we're compared to like extra booster 01, it's a very good leader, right?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I think a lot of leaders from those have been just really bad. Like Hannibal, Odin is like the kind of a weird one, right? That actually people just kind of like, right? I think it should be like the level of Odin, but it's not. It plays Gum Gum Giant, so
yeah,
right? When Gum Gum Giant gets banned in February, then this deck's dead for real. But until then,
I mean, is it even required if Roger is going to be the one that's taking over?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, Roger's the new.
They would ban UP before they ban Gum Gum Giant, because right now, or like,
yeah.
Gum Gum Giant might be a problem if UP also has the like the 8-drop Roger, but with how Promo's release schedule has been in NA, I don't know. Who knows? We might not get that Roger until like OP 14.5.
Yeah, it has the buggy treatment. We're probably not getting it until March or February. Like no, like just expect that.
But I definitely like kind of like all of the decks in A tier do kind of feel where they do have some real big consistency issues with like both Nami and like Nami just can't find a reasonable searcher. Like Sengoku is the closest, but you're still often playing a search like Sengoku searcher with only like 18 to 20 targets in your deck, sometimes less. So that's not ideal.
Yeah, it's not a consistent deck, Nami. It's actually really funny too. They've shifted their strategy a lot, actually. You think Nami's it's actually they swing with their leader like a couple turns and then they start playing big drops. Like it's really funky. It's like it literally is aggro and L. Like you know, it's kind of interesting.
It's just certainly weak to a certain strategies. Like whatever decks aren't like that scared of Nojiko and Jozu, you just have a big trouble beating those decks. And it does still play a lot of bricks, even with its 7K leader effect.
Yeah, so my only critique, I actually would put Rayleigh at the bottom of these four. Because out of like the last big major tournaments, the past four, like Rayleigh is not always there in the top cut.
I think what ends up happening outside the top cut in people's practice, they have to play around Rayleigh and build their deck to beat Rayleigh sometimes. It very much is the trouble deck where like Zoros have to like if you play against enough Rayleigh and you actually think there's gonna be a lot of Rayleigh, they have to like start taking in Lunas, right? Luffy has to tech around it as well and playing like White Snakes. I think the fact is it's not hitting those top cuts or hitting like the very top of the top cuts because it's the deck everyone's building around to not lose to, right? If that's because it only has like one or two strategies, but the players are just getting better. And actually, I will say about Rayleigh too, it actually depends if you could just see all your Luffys in a match. If you don't see a single Luffy, you won't actually win any game. You can't be it's actually F tier if you don't see a Luffy, right? But if if Luffy's, they have to treat you well. If you see 2 Luffys in a game, you're probably going to do really well. If you see 3 Luffys against like a control deck, you might win, right? So long story short, everyone's building to beat Rayleigh. Actually.
And people are certainly learning that there is very real ways to attack Rayleigh. Just like you were saying, they really do only have like a certain number of threats in their deck, right? Like they have 4 Luffys and they maybe have 2 Kid Killer. And other than that, like everything in their deck is 5K or less, pretty small. Yeah. So if you can just like outlast them and run them out of threats and make it so they just have a million events in hand, then often you can like finish them off in one big blitz. But very often they actually just pretend they're Zoro and then they just swing like big at you for like every turn. And then like if you're at 1 life, they'll go unblockable, and pray. Which go ahead, Kebby.
Yeah, and also like when I played the deck, like there's a huge difference in the actual ceiling of this deck if they have and don't have Luffy. But they don't have Luffy. That it's just I don't know.
The deck becomes easy to play, 100%.
Yeah. It definitely feels like the most impactful card for me in Premium Booster has really been the 6-drop Law. That's like the card where if you put it in a couple of decks, it like is really, really improving
Isn't
those
that
decks.
OP13?
No, that's
the red one. Oh, I'm so sorry. Red
The
Law.
Premium Booster Red
I'm
Law.
sorry. Red Law.
Yeah,
My bad.
really, really makes a huge
Can't put that
difference
in
in
Rayleigh.
Smoker and in Shanks, right? Like in Smoker, it's double searchable, removal proof. It's really annoying, right? Against UP, they can't can't Mihawk it. It's a 6 cost, so they can't hit it with King Kong gun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like breakpoints it hits really nicely, right? It's 7k, so if they attack it for 8, you can counter out easily. It's just a really, really annoying card to deal with. And in Shanks, if they get the curve out going second, right, and they just have like Lucky Roo into the Law into Rayleigh, right? Rayleigh can now kill an 8k instead of a 6k, and then they can follow it up with like a 10-drop Shanks.
Oh no, it is really good. Oh, okay. I hate seeing Shanks. I just hate seeing Shanks.
Yeah. Shanks is definitely a deck where you're still very, 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 very weak against UP. You really don't have any options there. Like, you have to, like, if you build your deck in such a way that you beat UP, you just lose to all of the aggro decks that you're supposed to be beating.
Yeah. I mean, UP only loses. I lost to Shanks today. UP loses the matchup if you don't have anything to play on your big turns. Like, that's actually what happens. You know, if you lose as UP, you have like nothing. You just didn't draw your cards.
Yeah, you can win, but it's very hard. You have to have your stuff line up just right.
Yeah, if you don't see Zoro, if you don't see Sanji X, then you're cooked. Like, it's pretty tough.
Then of course most recent versions of Shanks are also playing the stage. So typically it's stage into Lucky Roo into be Law. And then you're basically -3, but you get hit 9k.
We're just thinking about like consistency Shanks, you know? Like consistency
Stage
Shanks
less,
is very inconsistent.
Yeah. The Lucky Roo does help. The 4-drop pitches 6k, draw 2, like 6k power or more card, draw 2. Yeah, it is pretty nice. And I've been playing it like more often over the other Lucky Roo, just because the Lucky Roo that KOs a 6k or less, it has been very awkward. Just that, like, in the matchups you would want it to be good, often it's just too easy for them to rest it.
Yeah, people play around it a lot better now than they did back in OP.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's a lot more 7Ks and 8Ks running around now than there is 5Ks and 6Ks. So just having like blocker, draw 2, consistency, cycle the expensive stuff. I still don't know whether KO Shanks or Rush Shanks is better. It's very...
It depends on the matchup, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure when they go to do their deck list, their prep, it's cooked.
Yeah. It so depends. So it still is like a very... hope you hit your curve, hope you hit your good matchups. Yeah. It does feel better than it did before. Like before, it does feel like it has been bumped up from B tier to A tier.
Question. I don't want to take too long of this segment. I feel like we ate through a lot of stuff here. Overall, is this meta fun? Are people just excited for OP13, or should they actually have fun in this meta? You know, like,
I think this meta is more fun than people think. I think that if rather than the pair that ban, if they had just banned UP straight up, I think this meta would be really fun, because I think UP is holding like a lot of the fun decks down.
All the S tier decks, I feel the same way about all the
I think these two are holding them down more.
No, so is Blue Purple. Yeah, they're all 4. I agree with Half-Breed though about UP.
Yeah, I think UP is the most egregious, just because
I mean, okay, so it holds down Blackbeard. That's not really fun. It holds down Shanks.
It doesn't hold down Blackbeard.
No, Blackbeard can have a decent matchup.
It's favored.
It's favored for Blackbeard. Blackbeard, I'm surprised
since the pair banning?
I'm surprised Blackbeard isn't an S tier deck sometimes, but then I'm like, well, how does it lose to random thing? It loses to like just really, really good leader abilities, like and good combo cards. Not every deck plays on play cards.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's tough against Rayleigh. It can't really tech against Rayleigh. I mean, it's already kind of half tech against Rayleigh,
Yeah, especially now that has a new blocker.
It auto beats Bonnie, actually. It beats blue purple if they just don't draw really bad. Like, and it's against Zoro. Zoro's a hard matchup. Grape's a hard matchup. Everything else is like actually a tough
like
game.
50-50.
Yeah.
It turns off the +2K from Nami.
It's a flood. Yeah, it's a floodgate leader. Well, it only turns it off if you play the 10 drop.
Yeah, 10 drop.
All the builds, they don't play around 10 drop. They play around double Van Augur and the 7 drop and make it so your opponent can't play the game. Like actually, it's like you thought Ice Age was really bad, like Ice Age metas where like they didn't let you play anything. If Blackbeard just gets 2 Van Augurs and a 7 drop out, you literally can't do anything. Like you can Raging Tiger, they'll literally just search it again and find both of them because they'll search their whole deck. It's quite awful.
I've definitely seen them, like some versions even go down to like 2 copies of Burgess or whatever.
One. Yeah, the one that like did well, but it plays one. It doesn't even need Burgess anymore. So
I just think that like all 4 of the S tier decks can of course have like really good curves where like they're God draw where it feels really tough to beat. Mm-hmm. But it has always felt to me that like the UP draw is most egregious, where it's like you could
be worse at the game.
Yeah, you can
be worse at the game and still win. Like that's 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah, you can prepare against the other decks where it's like, okay, I know that Zoro, if everything goes right for them, they're gonna go 1 drop into blocker, into Tashigi, into Mihawk. Yeah. They're going to curve out, do their thing. But if I have the right counter and if I have a blocker at a good time, I can still beat them. And it's like same with Bonnie.
Yeah. I mean, I guess with these 4 decks, I'll say ultimately, not Zoro specifically, but they just lose less. Like that sounds so dumb, right? Decks that win more lose less, but they actually literally Bonnie, slows down stuff. Luffy becomes unkillable, and then Rayleigh, funny enough, also becomes unkillable. There's like there's like a point in time where they're like 8 cards in hand, maybe 9 cards in hand, 1 Dawn up. They will not die, right? Like there's no it's quite silly, actually.
Especially when they have like 2 or 3 Dawn up. But I think overall this meta is like in a good spot, and I think there's a lot of like tier 2 decks that have consistency issues, and they do their like God draw way less often than the S tier decks. Sure. Yeah. But they can have God draws where they curve out, and like especially in the 4 or 5 round tournaments. Mm-hmm. I think I guess the way I would put it, I think this meta is a really, really good locals meta. But I think as a meta, it's been kind of grinding on people that play 10 round tournaments, because trying to play like 10 rounds of UP or 10 rounds of Rayleigh is just like really tough. And the mirrors feel like so long and skill intensive and stressful or whatever. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I wanted to lead to is actually OP13.
Yeah.
It's November 7th, right? That's the release date for it. Right. The biggest problem with every local is that on November, like in that month, right? Whatever, even through pre-releases, locals will say you can't play the next set until it's ready. Even if you have the cards or proxying them, right? But they actually lose the most business that way, right? Like the week before, you'll have like 8 people instead of like 30 something people coming to locals, right? So I'm trying to like get my local in on it because they've done it for Pokemon. Right.
I don't know.
Just tell people, hey, ahead of time, this local is going to be OP13. You can proxy any and all your cards. It's either that or it's kind of a killer, number one, for fun for everybody, and it's a killer for business. Like it's just
I don't know.
I think it's good business because the last week of a set is really bad for locals, and because I play. Have you ever played any MMO like in a raiding guild ever?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, not much MMOs, but a little bit when I was younger.
Yeah, let's say World of Warcraft. Okay, in World of Warcraft, there's a reason why they have a weekly lockout, and it's actually important you do, even if the raid's bad, right? You do the weekly lockout every week. If you miss a week, God forbid 2 weeks, your raid might straight up break up, right? Like that's why holiday time things get really bad, and all of a sudden you find all new members because they had a 1 week break. You broke off the monotony of just doing the same thing every week, going to the same place, talking with the same people, right? If you break that, even momentarily, you can really affect how many people come to like raid. It's the same thing, I think, with locals. It really affects how many people will come to locals. If you, it's almost like important. You want to give something people. You don't want to give a reason people not to come, right?
I don't know. I think there are two main issues with that. First of all, is that Bandai does not allow proxies in official events. So it could not be an official One Piece event with official proxies. You'd have to make it an unofficial event. Otherwise, you could lose your store license.
Okay.
But in general, I think that's like, while I might have thought that was true about other formats, I feel like it's not going to be true about this format where like, I think a lot of people are still like happy to test their decks, and the fact that there just was like some new cards relatively recently for people to still test. And I think there has been a lot of worry about OP13. People are like genuinely worried about what it's going to look like post that format. So I have to see. I think the biggest issue is like, how good is Emu, and how quickly do they like, will they have to do anything about Emu? Because Emu is like, it's like Green Zoro and Rayleigh, except without like Cavendish or whatever, right? You can buy 2 booster boxes and almost have the entire Emu deck built.
Yeah.
Or there's a chance you could buy the whole deck for less than a cost of a booster box. And if that's the case, and you have a tier 1 deck that's under $100, and everyone might start bringing Emu to locals, I feel like that is going to be more of a like locals killer than the 1 week of PRB. But
I'm not gonna disagree on that, right? But like, if I have a tournament soon, like a big one, if I have a choice of staying home and playing and not playing, OP12 or PRB, right? Versus just doing whatever else. Like that happens then last week. Like have you ever been there before where you just didn't go locals because it was not the next set? Like OP11 was like that. The end of OP11 was the fucking worst. Like the last month, that almost killed the game. I swear to God, I think the game it was like really, really, really bad. Right?
You mean the UP Bellabetti meta?
Yeah. And then we're waiting for the ban list to be announced. It was full like 2 months. July and most of August, right?
Yeah, no one cared.
Nobody cared. People didn't like going to locals. People complained about this meta. There were so many YouTube videos that says, I hate this meta. Like literally, it almost killed the game. And actually, I think we're still literally recovering from that. And you kind of have to do something a little more proactive. Like, especially, if you tease a ban list and don't announce an official date until like the week before.
Yeah.
It's all speculative, and everyone's so upset.
Dude, the announcement of the date announcement was so crazy.
It was
we have a ban list announcement. The ban list announcement is in 1 week. I was like, or 2 weeks or whatever. That was so bad.
And it was just like, it was so awful because like, it was a bad time. And it's going to be like that in February and March. It's going to be the exact same thing. We're going to be asking for bans, and there just needs to be something better, something more fun for locals. That's why they're doing like heroin tournaments.
Yes.
And
I actually thought that was so cool. I wish I could send the link to that.
They also will have off-meta tournaments as well. That's actually official English, which it's not that crazy, to be honest, right? It's still a lot of really good decks. It literally is like half of A tier and some of B tier. you know?
Yeah. But so if you don't know what Keck is talking about, they did in Japan what they called the Heroines Cup, which was a tournament where you could only play female leaders. And
Yeah.
so this
Can't
was
play
like
Emu.
to celebrate Extra Booster.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, but it was an interesting tournament because like Bonnie was the most represented deck by
Yeah, I
a
would
good
think so.
amount.
Yeah.
God damn it!
But still, there was Bonnie, there was Reiju, there was Pudding, there was Smoker, there was Nami.
Yeah. Actually,
That
funny
does not
story.
sound fun.
Funny story too. People were saying on Twitter, "Okay, Emu is not allowed in it, so that confirms it's male."
Confirmed Emu's male. Oh yeah, that's right. They did Heroines Cup, but
Yeah.
Emu was banned.
And then
That's
Yamato
funny.
was playable, and everyone's like, "Wait a minute!"
Yeah.
It was pretty. Twitter
There was a lot of conspiracy theories there, a lot of arguing.
Yeah, it's funny.
But that does not sound like a very fun format if they allowed Bonnie.
Yeah.
That just
But,
sounds like it would be
I
terrible.
mean, I think the thing was it's to sell product, and to sell product, you get people to play bad decks for money. Hell
that,
yeah,
but
I'm all for that, dude.
I get that, but it's a lot of bad decks and Bonnie. There's bad decks and then there's one Bonnie deck.
Yeah, but
like Bonnie's just way better than everything else.
Yeah. There's also going to be an off-meta tournament that's not heroin, right? It's just you can't play the top 10 most played decks. They actually there's going to be that for locals. They announced it. There's like a whole thing for it. I think the signups are going to be up soon. And the thing is, a lot of us were like, dude, like there's a lot of good decks that should be on here. like this is bullshit. This is like there's too many leaders. You can't just say top 10 leader. It's insane, right? There's like this is like 30. This is like 25 like really good leaders we're looking at right here, right?
Hey,
like
let the people bring black, yellow, Luffy and just be okay with that, okay?
No, I mean that's a good leader. Like it's the fakest lead. It's the fakest leader I know, but it's a good leader, right? So like, yeah.
I'm interested for them to start introducing new formats of the game to play now that it's been out for a while. Obviously, they announced at some point they're going to do like once the first rotation happens. After that, there'll be a legacy format where you can play cards from the entire history of the game, and then we'll have to see how that goes and what other off meta stuff they could do. But I certainly think there's interesting things that they could do in terms of formats and to make the game a little bit more varied rather than just the same pool of cards you've been seeing for forever.
Yeah.
At least for the first year, I don't think how the legacy format would be even fun. Because, I mean, if you think about it, most of the one block cards have been power crept. So
we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah.
I think 2 has a lot of the bulk of the good cards. So when block 2 goes, maybe then the format becomes a little bit more unique.
Yeah.
No, but maybe see what happens if they take all of the ban lists off, right? Like,
yeah, they could do that.
Maybe
legacy no ban list first and then see what has to get rebanned.
I'm curious what the pricing will be for the thing. That's actually the big thing. If it's like buddy battle stuff, no one's gonna care. But if they have like the legacy format and like
real regional
like cereals, like okay. So this is just the game.
See, I wouldn't mind if it's like legacy, like vintage, where even the ban cards you get it restricted to 1.
Oh no,
or something like that.
Oh my god.
No, but I mean, maybe it's not the worst to just have like Sakazuki Lucci against RP Luffy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like it could be an interesting different format to be like, this legacy is the UP Sokka red purple law format or whatever,
We'll see when it comes up.
But anyway, I think the last thing we kind of want to talk about, there was like 2 main decks that I'm like really considering taking to regionals.
Sure.
So I figured I could show them to you guys and talk about them a little bit in terms of my 2 upcoming regionals. So this is my Bonnie list right now. As you guys know, I'm a longtime green enjoyer. I won my serial with Green Kid in OP4, I believe, technically OP 4.5. And I've done pretty well just with green decks in general, Kid, Bonnie. And I think outside of that, I like top 64 a couple of times with Purple Luffy.
Go ahead.
But this is my list right now. There's really no changes. Like the only thing that changed is you took out Uroj and you replace it with the premium booster Bonnie, and you take out the 5-drop starter deck Mihawk 2K, and you replace it with the Zoro blocker. And other than that, it's the exact same list that I played before Premium Booster. So
you don't like Dead Man's Game?
They don't play Dead Man's Game. You don't need Dead Man's Game. You play this game not to lose. Okay, like you attack them, but really, and the game is this deck takes less damage than other decks because it's leader ability, right?
You need the 4 Hody Jones, and the fact that Dead Man's Game only targets your leader and doesn't protect characters really makes it punishing sometimes. And like Hody Jones is just an insane curve out. There's so many games where it's just like, okay, if I have Hody Jones, they die. If I don't, maybe I die. But if I do, it's so insane.
Well, I did want to just to bring up Dead Man's Game since Kevy's wants to talk about it for a second. Dead Man's Game is very easy to play around now. Paying 4 Dawn and discarding a card to rest 2 Dawn, or 2 Dawn or 2 characters blockers, and is actually a balanced card. It's not broken, so it's not played in this deck because it's not a broken card. It's just a balanced card.
It's good in the decks where it doesn't cost 4. You know, the Smoker deck and the GP Luffy decks that can basically play it for 2 or 0 or whatever. But when you actually pay 4 for it, it doesn't feel that great.
It does not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
But my experience with this deck is basically like, I hate that I can't beat UP consistently. It's like 40% at best. If you don't draw Hody Jones, you can't win. You kind of really need the big drops. A lot of the other stuff doesn't matter. The most important thing to beat UP is you really need Cavendish plus Koshiro or Cavendish plus Tashigi. If you don't have that, often you just don't have enough aggression to get them dead. But the Zoro matchup does feel quite good. The Jewelry Bonnie really, really helps there. Make sure you don't die to Hody, you don't die to Dead Man's Game. The matchup against Rayleigh is pretty good as well. Against Rayleigh, you're normally supposed to play the Starve strat, where you just try and, like, if you can just use your leader ability every turn and just attack their board nonstop, they will run out of stuff, and they will run out of stuff way before you die most of the time, especially if you can stick Tashigi on the board at some point. UP is the really bad matchup. There's other matchups that are kind of like a coin toss. Shanks is not great. Smoker is mediums. The Smoker matchup is all right. It's kind of like there's a really interesting push-pull when you play against Smoker where you really want Jewelry Bonnie so that you don't die to Hody Jones. But if they have the Kobe to kill it, it's really good for them. But if they don't, then you can get a lot of advantage with like Carrot and stuff like that and your own Hody Jones. But it's still, it's a deck that's like fine. You do a thing every turn. It's very hard to do a bad thing with Bonnie, but it's very clear that you have bad matchups. And the fact that UP, the most played deck in the format, is a bad matchup is kind of what makes me a little iffy to play this deck.
But
I have all these cards, so that's probably why I'll play it.
But you're also real good into Rayleigh and Zoro, so like you can't be really upset. You're good against 2 of the 4, so it's like
Bonnie players. No, they have to be upset. So you don't understand. Okay, let me talk to you for a second. Okay, Bonnie players are the biggest complainer. They're playing the fucking best deck, and they play all the best cards, and they still complain. That's so. Dude. Yeah, that's just true. That's just the truth.
Bonnie was so shit for so long.
It was just green. It was just green that was bad. You know. You can't just blame the leader. You gotta blame the.
Bonnie's like always kind of been medium, where it feels like Bonnie has always been a top 10 deck. It just bounces back and forth between being like 9th and 4th. Like the highest it's ever been feels like 4th.
Yeah.
Look at this, Bonnie.
No, and
Bonnie.
There's also a
it's really good now. It's the best it's ever been for sure.
It's Bonnie. Yeah, like that's true.
I will agree that Bonnie is the best it's ever been, and it's very annoying. And whenever when I'm not playing Bonnie and I'm playing against Bonnie, you know, if they have the right card at the right time, it feels like a real blowout. Where they're like, where you're just like, please don't have Shanks, and then they have it and you get wrecked, or like, please don't have Carrot. And sometimes it can just be an aggro deck, right, where you just play Cavendish into Hody Hody.
Yeah, that's probably the best version of Bonnie, right? But those are just two good cards that aren't balanced. They're just very strong, you know.
Yeah,
yeah. So you put broken cards in a broken leader, you're gonna have a good time.
So we have one
and they're
more.
still gonna complain about it. So,
yeah, people already complain about Bonnie, so I will admit if UP was banned, Bonnie would definitely be the most hated deck in the format, like not close probably. But I will take my small wins and I will play my green cards because I'm happy. I'm a Bonnie believer.
Yeah, but actually, we should. If you ever do make a Bonnie guide, you have to make a how to complain as a Bonnie player. That's actually because then the people be like, oh, I don't sympathize with you very much because you gotta make people feel bad for you in some other way. But what's the next deck you wanted to show?
Yeah, the other deck where like
on Bonnie here.
I've been testing it and I've been seriously considering taking it. It's like not that expensive to get into right now. And it is playing new cards, which is what I really like to do. I like to play new cards. So I've been really actually liking Yellow Purple Pudding. And I have to say, first of all, before I say anything, Kebby, I'm sorry. You were right. I was wrong. This deck is not fake. It used to be fake. I don't think it's fake anymore. I wouldn't say it's insanely good, but the biggest thing is I beat UP like
he beat UP
most of the time. I do lose with it sometimes, but you do win a lot of the time, and it does feel really consistent now in doing its thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, is it just cause the new pudding? Like literally?
This deck was good before the pudding.
Well, I'm asking specifically for the pudding because I don't think it was that good before the pudding. Yeah. Straight up, before the pudding, someone brought this in front of me, I'd be like, okay, this is just gonna be sad.
I was like 10-3 with it before the pudding.
Good for you, bro.
Yeah,
the only hard matchup was Grape Luffy, and the other matchup I could beat. That was even during. Blue purple at its full capacity, I was able to beat it pretty consistently.
But let's see, your pudding, it replaces itself by drawing 2 cards and then plays a big dude. And you play that literally. I mean, what you go first in this deck, right? This is a win dice roll deck, right?
Yeah, the Mr. 2 is there definitely to help with the draws where you go second. But yeah, going first with this deck is really strong. The best draw the deck can have is go first into the 6-7 category, and then the turn after that you can play a 10-drop already.
Can you play 7-drop pudding on the second? Like it goes from 5. Okay, so it goes from 3 to 4. Goes to 6. Oh no, you have to wait till like the third. Turn. Okay.
No, you never really play pudding on curve. The only time you can do it is against UP, but that's actually kind of the thing. Like pudding is actually quite good against Blue Purple Luffy. Because if they ramp 1, then they do get to the 6-on breakpoint where you can play it on curve. If like you go second, right, you would ramp from 4 to 7, and they would put themselves from 5 to 6, and then you can just slam pudding on 7. And if you follow up with the 8-drop category, then you can still play another 8-drop the following turn.
Yeah. Okay.
It just like the pudding does make a big difference in now you actually have like pudding's biggest problem for the longest time and why I thought the deck was not good is just that like playing 1 10-drop a turn was just not good enough. And it hadn't been good enough for quite a while. But now that you have like, I guess it's not 8, but you have 7, like you have an extra additional copies to play 2 characters a turn. Before it was only the 2-drop category, right? Like you could play 8-drop and the 2-drop to put them both out. But now you can do pudding, which gets 2 characters by itself. And sometimes you can even do pudding plus the category. So then you get 3 big bodies and you're drawing cards.
If you can play 2 purple categories ever, you're like on curve. You're probably not losing the game, right?
Yeah.
Like probably like now how consistent is that? That's what this deck's built to do now with all like it's 8 searchers, life takers, and obviously I like that pudding. It actually draws 2 cards and then plays a card out. Like
yes,
that's pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, so Yeah, I actually I don't know. Take it to your locals. Try on the sim. Sounds fun, right?
Yeah, if I play Bonnie and I get beat up by UP a bunch of times and have to drop out of the tournament, then the next tournament I will probably play this, and then you're praying that you don't run into GP. Rayleigh is a little bit better because you can somewhat race them and kind of go back and forth between 0 and 1 and 0 and 1.
Sure.
But yeah, GP is the worst matchup. Rayleigh is also pretty bad, but Zoro Zoro's very beatable, especially like 8-drop Katakuri is just a real nightmare for Zoro to deal with. The fact that you can untap all your big guys so they can't attack into them multiple times.
It's not even including you could remove something.
Yeah.
The yellow Katakuri.
Yeah, and it's pretty decent against Bonnie as well. You're obviously always scared of Hody Jones, but adding the 9-drop Linlin especially really helped against Bonnie. And once again, 8-drop Katakuri just so good against that deck.
Yeah.
You never get shanks, you never get Don't Flamingo and all that stuff.
It seems like if you could stay at a healthy life, 2 life with 2 blockers, or 1 life with 2 blockers, decent hand, and you could spam 10 moms, you're probably going to win any late game scenario. You probably don't play 10 moms or 9 moms on really, really fast games, right? You have to kind of like play more balanced. But no one's out long gaming this deck. That's kind of
UP is the only exception. Sometimes they can still like outgrind you, but not really. You just end the game. But 10 Mom often felt like one of the worst cards to play. I ended up cutting it down from 4 to 3 just because like playing 2 8-drops was almost always better than playing 10-drop if you had the option.
Yeah. That's why in my version I only play 2.
Yeah.
The longest time I topped out at 8. My version, I played the 1-drop blocker. Just because I want to be good into Betty, also at the time, and Rayleigh, so I have the 1-drop blocker, so I can get an 8 down and have this 9 dawn turn.
I like it. I like the build. They're like 2 cards.
There's definitely some flex slots I've been playing, like the Arrow. I wasn't sure how good the Arrow is, and I might try playing Anna instead. That's something that I haven't considered.
Yeah, especially I'd say that's like if you've ever played against Purple Katakuri, they just play like 4 blockers out, and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, you can't. You know how like blue purple Luffy will leave up like 5 Dawn because of 2 Rosies, right? Well, now it's like something similar, right? Like I have 4 blockers. You can't Hody Jones 4 blockers, dude. So like, what are you
gonna...
I like the flexibility of a 1-drop blocker in this deck. Because you often have one. You have 1 Dawn to spare in this deck, and you could always drop that down.
I'll say these new blockers, really good. Like these new 1-drop blockers, that are somewhat restricted. It's not that very hard. Like it's pretty broken.
And put this 1K counter.
There was a couple of cards I've been considering in the flex slot. Like there's a 2-drop Shiki blocker as well. That's like if you have 8 or more draw a card, discard a card.
Yeah.
That card was tempting as well. But still, there's things to like about this deck. It's clearly not a S tier deck, but it's definitely better than I expected. And it's pretty cheap to throw together. The purple 8-drop Katakuri is down to like $3. It's like $3.50 right now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I think it's a buy. I think it's worth getting. And I think this deck is fun. I'll have to see if it has any chance of beating any of the OP13 decks where it has any longevity at all. But I do like it for the now.
Yeah, honestly, that's what kind of threw me for a loop when the tier list, they had Katakuri as a B tier and this is a C tier. I'm like, technically, I think this deck is better than Katakuri.
Again, it's speculative, only 1 month. It's almost like no point arguing over like B and C tiers,
Yeah.
Like,
because my opinion, I think this is the best purple non-straw hat deck.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's best purple non-straw hat. So no Luffy.
That's kind of what I came to as well.
But that that means that I think it's better than Lim. I think it's better than Katakuri.
Though honestly, Lim is a deck that I like as well. I've seriously been considering trying Lim. There's somebody who's been doing well with Lim in the Chinwas Cup like every week.
Yeah, and it also helps that her most expensive card was Usohachi. Now
Yep.
that's just kind of tanked. So that deck is probably only like $40 now.
Yeah. Lim's good.
But yeah, those are my picks for regionals right now. Like I said, I might take another peek at Lim, but my default is Bonnie.
Yeah.
And,
could we talk about one more thing before?
Sure. What did you want to close up with?
I think you guys wanted to talk about like regional prep. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, that was the reason why I had that picture up. That was to talk about those decks for regional prep purposes.
Makes sense. Are we talking in-person regional, online regional, both? Like
both. I mean, I only play in online regionals.
Yeah.
But
is this like just practicing? Like we're talking about practice? We ain't talking about the game. Is that
what do you mean?
Do you not know that meme?
No.
This is okay. Pause. You guys, all right, here we go. No, you can keep the stream going. Or you can keep the video going, right? Pause. You're gonna have to know this meme. There's this basketball player. He didn't show up to practice. All-star player, right? The coach benched him for whatever game, right? And he went to a press conference and he's like, "You didn't play with me in the game. I didn't show up to practice." We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. He literally said that like 10 times. It was just so funny. So like, yeah, we ain't talking about the game. We talk about practice. So, right. I'll tell you this. A lot of even really good players, they don't try to grind. Some do just grind the hell out of the game, play them out of the game. But most people don't have that kind of time. And sometimes it's hard to find enjoyment in grinding sometimes in a lot of scenarios, especially if you don't know what the heck you're going to play. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could give some advice, right, and I'll give some advice outside the game that had nothing to do with the game, and inside the game, right? Play something you actually find fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And try to play against people that are also trying to have fun / get better at the game, right? And actually record your games, find out in bigger things what your losses were, what they were to, and write down any real clerical mistake. Because the general thing is most people lose because they made some interesting mistake, and it wasn't even, and it's actually a big one. Like people shouldn't make mistakes because they forgot to swing with Ichiji when they're playing Reiju because he has rush, right? I've done that before. I have to write down on a sticky note, swing with Ichiji. Do this, do that. Like literally write down your mistakes so you don't forget it, right? Because that usually costs you, those cost you the game. Thunder Bagua only ramps you if you're at 2 or less life. It does not ramp you at 3 life, right? Yes. I've done that. I've like lost a game at turn 2 because I Bagua thinking I was going to ramp, but I'm at 3 life. So like I just wasted a Bagua.
I did that on stream last Thursday.
Yeah. And a lot of losses are to things like that. I won games at Nats. I won games in here because I try to make the least amount of mistakes possible. So play those games, write down your mistakes, make less mistakes than your opponent. That's just good practice. Okay. That's generally the good regional prep. Other than, okay, this is outside the game now. I think this is what actually is kind of important because most people come into either, especially on the online regionals, right? They come in online regionals literally so tired, not even focused. They don't even want to be there. Okay. They're literally ready to X3 drop. And it's really strange because it's the same pricing expectation if you were to spend $500+ to like go to Peoria or somewhere to do a regional and like $500+ plus 3 days of your time, right? It's the same effect, but all you have to do is go to your computer. So number one, outside the game, right? Basically you make a checklist for yourself. I have a checklist. I'll give it to you guys so you guys can put it in the comments down below, right? What you need. But number one, just during the week of the tournament, okay, I want you to wake up before the tournament should start. Okay. Like,
you know,
like, the tournament's at 9 a.m., I'm going to wake up at 8 a.m. every day at the very least, right? for 5 days, right? Adjust your sleep schedule, in that scenario. Don't stay out the night before. Like really obvious things, right? You just somehow have an advantage over your opponent who literally can't even be awake at 9 in the morning. Right? So number one, that pull an all dayer maybe a couple days before. Don't stop taking naps in the middle of the day. Like those round 6 sleepy things that happen. I think everyone agrees with this too. The best thing about One Piece is its community.
Yeah.
Join one, make one, whatever you have to do in between rounds at a regional or online. You jump in a Discord chat, you're chatting with people, talking with them, talking about your mistakes, talking about, oh, this guy threw, like whatever it is, like make it a community thing, right? To hang out. Stop trying to make it an excuse to like almost lose on purpose, right? And especially with online, I think this doesn't affect me at all because I have to think about it so differently. A lot of players, no, there's two things, right? So first of all, for some reason online, people do give out a little bit worse energy. There's a lot more people that play online regionals that are actually in it for the prizing, believe it or not, right? And so they're actually like more serious, and it becomes a little unfun. They don't give good energy, right, before the tournament starts.
There's like more distrust too.
Yeah, exactly. It's harder to trust. So I think one thing is try to give good energy so your opponent can maybe match that energy, right? So you can play the game and both have fun. Now that sounds like really dumb, right? But that actually really adds up over like a whole tournament, right? And you can't exactly, I mean, you can blame like, oh, these people coming in just for the prizing. I mean, that's what you're kind of there for too, right? But it's almost like they're draining your fun to make you like not care about the game. So it's kind of a weird angle. But give good energy, right, to your opponent. And obviously, you're usually going to give good energy to your opponent like at an in-person regional. Except for California. For some reason, California, they're kind of they're kind of self-centered sometimes. Some Californians, they don't give a good energy, right?
Shade.
Yeah. Because it ends up being, you're just another person to them, right? But in Texas, when we're at the Nats, everyone gave good energy, and then so usually people played better and had more fun. So you actually want to be there. And then other than that, what did I even talk about? Did I just talk in circles there? I think I did.
No, you gave some good advice in terms of like being ready for the tournament, making sure you have enough sleep, trying to like enjoy the game. Because I think it's true too. Like oftentimes the worst I did at tournaments was tournaments where I was like, where I picked up a deck and was like, okay, this is the deck that statistically is going to win me the most games or whatever. And then I showed up and I just played matchups that I wasn't ready for all day. Playing a deck that I didn't understand as well or whatever, right? And it's just like not putting yourself in that situation is worth it. And a lot of times it's just better to like, I just picked something. I knew what I was doing. I was just trying to curve out, have a simple, good game. And you just make a few less mistakes than your opponent, right? And like that's the important thing too. Other people are going to fuck up. So if you're rested, if you had some water, if you got some food, if you're awake before the event, so you don't have to like get everything done in a rush, that helps a lot. So
show up to round one.
Yeah.
And round zero. That's actually probably the hardest part. Regional prep is round zero. Go ahead, Kevin.
One question before we close out this podcast, as we're running a little long. So each of you pick 2 decks that you would pick that are not S and not Grape / Anel, that you would consider picking up and playing for regionals that you think are the better rogue decks to top and go top 4 or something like that.
How about this? I'll do one, Dat Half-Breed does one, and then I'll do one, and Dat Half-Breed does one.
Sure.
Like, a little in-betweener.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not S, not Great Blue Fleet, not Anel, because those decks are already kind of really strong.
Yeah.
They're not really rogue.
My initial thought, looking at all these, it's none of these. It's Green Yellow Law.
Yeah.
Green Yellow Law.
You think Green Yellow Law?
It actually just got second place here. Green Yellow Law. I don't know why I was having a hard time against Rayleigh, against really good Rayleighs, right? I need to figure out just that matchup. If I can figure out that matchup, I beat everything besides Blackbeard. Like realistically. But I just need I need to figure out against Rayleigh, and you can beat that. So that's I would bring that. No, it's not for everybody, but I would bring it because I think it's really good, and I can beat pretty much every deck in front of me that's not good.
Yeah, I think for me, if I already talked about purple yellow pudding a little bit, so I guess I won't say that, but I still think purple green limb is really really good. That's one of those decks where it's like, hey, once again, I do not stand for cheating, but if there's ever a deck to get a weighted dice or a weighted coin, it's that deck. Yeah. If you feel like you're good at rolling dice or flipping the coin, or if you want to start being like, hey, you want to do rock, paper, scissors? If you're really able to get into someone's head and beat them at the rock, paper, scissors game, so you can go first, that deck can tear people up if you just, win the die roll, 5-drop, 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 blah, 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 restand, kill you. So, And the deck's also $50. So I like it.
Yeah. I actually like Zanji, Zoro Sanji. That's been really cooking, especially in EU. It's really cooking up. I will tell you, it is smoker deck. You literally play out 5-cost smoker and abuse it. That's pretty much the deck, but for some reason, it actually feels kind of fun.
Yeah, it looks fun facing it, and hopefully once EB03 comes out and it gets its new 2-drop tap, add 2 Rested Dawn to something, that's a cheat. It'll even get more of a boost. Yeah, excited.
Yeah, I guess my last deck is kind of boring, but I really love Purple Luffy, man. The deck is so simple, so straightforward, and it's just I am a fan.
In OP13 too.
Yeah, and it's good in OP13 as well. It has some reasonable lines, but I'm just a fan of aggro decks that are a little bit more flexible with their plays, right? I just like aggro decks with beefy creatures. That's kind of things that I like to do, which is also why, Green Kid back in the day was one of my favorite decks. So Purple Luffy is just that as well. I never got a top 8 with Purple Luffy, but during the Sakazuki era, I was farming top 64s with Purple Luffy. Yeah. I had a whole bunch of Shirahoshis and Kobes, so I still like that deck as well.
I actually have a prediction on Purple Luffy. In OP13, post Roger promo, it'll actually be the dark horse.
Oh, you think it's a good Roger promo deck as well?
No, I think it beats Roger because of Magellan. And so post Roger promo, you're going to see a bunch of Rogers at your locals and maybe Blue Purple Luffy, right? And it has a good match. Magellan just actually kind of hates Emu.
Yes.
And Roger, and it just actually does well against 2 really good decks.
It's pretty good against Blue-Red Luffy as well, because you can keep them off of their Blue-Red Ace. Sorry, yeah, because you can keep them off of their 10 beard turn with Magellan, and you have a bunch of good 6Ks.
Yeah, and it's So I wonder how that looks, but I think it is the dark horse post. But when people start playing more like Roger, basically, right?
And for me, it's called Gara. I think it's probably going to show up in decent numbers.
Yeah,
great deck.
It's
another
deck.
One of those aggro decks with beefy creatures. It's a little too glass cannon for me, since it's no Gum Giant.
I actually think it has. I mean, it has a lot of events to have 3K. If this deck high rolls, it beats most decks. Right? It's actually, I've just seen this deck high roll to the sun. I've seen it low roll to the floor. It literally is almost inconsistent, and it actually is very tanky. Funny enough, even if you're taking your own life, it's actually very tanky because of Nolan. Nolan is truly it's actually overpowered card, straight up.
Yeah,
super
Kuma does help as well in terms of helping you not die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. So let us know down in the comment section which one of these leaders are you thinking about picking up and taking to a regionals. I think any of these leaders outside of, you're going to have probably a harder time if you play Teach or Katakuri, just because it's a long day for you if you go to a regional with those. But there's a lot of fun decks here. I mean, and of course, Luffy players, we know you exist. You're probably going to be commenting that we didn't bring you up in the C tier, but yeah. So let's go ahead and head out. Let's close it out to Cack-Filet first.
Yeah. Well, yeah, guys, if you guys aren't already, like the channel, like the video, and smash that subscribe button. Okay?
Wow.
Smash it. Ring that bell. Every Monday, we're out here talking shit. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I again, I'm kind of up on this format. I'm still really interested to see what actually happens come OP13. I think the OP13 meta is like relatively unexplored, all things considered. I feel like everybody's kind of been defaulting to things, but I think there's still some stuff we could figure out. And if we'll have to see how correct Kebi's theory is about every 6 months ban. So we'll see, but I'm excited for my regionals, and I hope you guys will tune in to watch my stream as I do it, hopefully. And yeah, thanks so much, guys, for watching as always.
And for me, so I'm actually going to be increasing my stream count. So after having the baby for a certain amount of period, he seems like he sleeps quite well until 1 a.m. So I don't necessarily have to be on watch duty anymore on 2 nights. So I'm going to start streaming One Piece on Mondays and Wednesdays now on 9:30 p.m. Central. So I'm going to be increasing my One Piece streams, and I'm going to start getting into more PRB02 stuff as well, and getting that little bit of prepping. So come around for that. The other 2 nights you probably don't care about. It's Magic and Pokemon the other 2 nights. So
yeah.
But other than that, yeah, all what Keck said, make sure you subscribe to all that stuff. And let us know in the comment section how much you like Cack-Filet. I think we're going to have him on quite often. So let us know all that. And we'll talk to you guys next time.